Gäste aus Schweden, weit gereist und was ganz Besonderes, Imminence.
Vielen Dank. Thank you very much.
You might have heard this question before, but are your parents huge Iron Maiden fans?
No.
Because your name is Eddie.
Obviously. No. No, actually not. It's the first time I heard the question, but no.
Okay, guys, you got a very special and unique sound. Kind of metalcore-ish, post-hardcore-ish, violin. So where do you draw your inspirations from?
Well, I think our biggest inspiration must have been from probably growing up in Sweden, really listening to like the Swedish melodeath, like In Flames, for example, bands like Dark Tranquillity and things like that were huge. But obviously, you know, it's not limited to that. I think we listen to a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, I listened a lot to Linkin Park as well when I was growing up, so I think there was some kind of inspiration from both the melodeath and the new metal genres that kind of molded the sound of what Imminence would be.
Mentioning In Flames, you just were on tour with them last winter.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great. It was really, really cool to play with a band that we grew up listening to and that we loved, like, their music so much.
And especially considering the fact that Anders is the one who really picks the band because he likes them, you know. They're In Flames, they don't really need to think so much about, oh, maybe we need supports that can bring crowd or whatever. He just brings band that he loves. So for us, huge honor, really.
Did you know the guys before, or did you just meet them on tour for the first time?
No, we met during the festival season prior to the tour, but that was like, we were booked as the support band, and then we met on the festival summer for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And how was the crowd? Did you get well received at the In Flames shows?
Yeah, I think generally it was great for us, really. What I thought was quite fantastic was that a lot of people came up to us and said that, oh, I really hadn't heard about you guys before. I mean, we've been in the game for a while. I mean, we've been touring for 10 years, doing our own club shows and whatever. But this was also a crowd that didn't see us before, you know. And so for us, it was great to be able to reach new fans, pretty much, yeah.
You got this outstanding instrument, a violin, which is kind of uncommon in this kind of music. When did you learn it? As a kid?
Yeah, I started playing violin when I was 5 years old. I wasn't old enough to play drums or guitar, so I had to choose a different instrument. And then, yeah, it looked interesting, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it hard to integrate it into your sound? I mean, it's a very rich sound anyway, you know, tons of emotions, but very sophisticated arrangements as well. So is it more like on the computer, the writing, or is it more like in a rehearsal room? And how do you get these violin parts in between?
I mean, when we write the music, we do it in the studio, kind of, in a computer. And I think that the violin really brings so much emotion to the music as well, that it's quite, if you would say, easy for us to incorporate it because it's such a big part of us.
Yeah.
I think we always kind of used it, but in the beginning it was like Eddie used to play, like we knew that he played violin, but we never really used it as like a main solo instrument. It was like, okay, it's a nice layer that just adds in the background because Eddie's going to be busy, you know, screaming and whatever and doing crazy stuff in the front. And I think it was maybe 2 albums ago when we really started thinking of it as, you know, maybe we can really front it, you know, as another interesting element, which we did, obviously. And I think it was one of the best decisions we ever did.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unique. And as you said, the mood, it's all about the atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
So your music is very dark. Are you dark persons as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you say it in that way, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we all have our different sides to ourselves. And, I mean, in general, yeah, we're pretty light-hearted people. But, you know, we have our dark sides as well. And I think that is what we draw inspiration from in our music and, you know, pour that part of ourselves into what we create.
I mean, the lyrics are very dark as well. So is it like a kind of therapy for you to write those lyrics?
Yeah, you could say that. Like it's my way of dealing with all these, like dealing with the darkness and trying to put it out somewhere.
But you gotta be pretty brave, right? To open up that much. You need tons of courage for that, don't you?
I mean, it's easier in a way than to talk directly to someone. So it becomes kind of like an escape that you're able to say things that you maybe normally wouldn't to another person. So it's very, it's a great way of opening up, I think. And it helps a lot of people to be able to relate to that as well.
And I think like it's never been a decision of we're gonna write heavy music with heavy themes or dark themes. It just kind of turns out the way it does, and it's always been like that. And the sound of the music is nothing we decide. It's just something that is the result of our writing together, you know. So I guess it's a good outlet for us.
I mean, you could tell it's not like the normal formula band, you know, with all the standards with chorus, verse. It's like real art. So it comes out of your inner feelings.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was nice. Thank you.
So, in the video of Chasing Shadows, you got kind of unique outfits, like the fringe jacket, for example. Does that come back, that kind of fashion?
I think it's referring to your jacket,
Yeah.
the fringe.
Oh, my fringe jacket. Actually, it was just something a friend of mine had this fringe jacket, you know, this leather thing. Don't ask me if it comes back into fashion, I don't know. I just found it and I thought it looked really nice. And I think maybe in terms of style, like the way we wear, well, what we wear, I guess maybe it's not so conventional. It's not necessarily all black and, you know, which is nothing wrong with, of course, but I think we just feel comfortable finding our own styles a little bit, dress the way we want to and whatever. So this one I just thought looked really cool. I got a lot of questions afterwards, like people thought I was Native American. I was like, yeah, I get the, you know, I get association, but unfortunately not correct, but yeah.
Well, nothing against Swedes, right?
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, so I've heard rumors that some new stuff will come up by the end of this year. Is that true?
Yeah, we are currently writing for our next album, and we are expected to release some more new music this year.
How about this album format? Isn't it easier to just release single songs, like every quarter year, for example?
I think that the album format is kind of embedded in our DNA now. You know, this is the way we consume music when we were growing up, and this is like always been the goal for us. And I think it's a very nice way to wrap up an album cycle, because usually we tend to go into maybe different styles or different themes when we're writing an album, and it's kind of nice to end that cycle so you can begin something new.
Yeah, and I think Imminence is all about the storytelling, right? It's all about telling the story of where we were at the time we were writing the new album, you know. It's kind of concluding the whole thing, really, for us.
So it's a big concept.
Yeah, I would say so.
Sort of.
Yeah, definitely, it is. And it's important for us to stay with this, I guess, because we want to also offer something a bit deeper, you know, than not just doing singles.
So we're all very curious. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
17:30 Uhr auf der Lauder Stage. Imminence!
Dankeschön.
Thank you.